Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. In today's video, who goes there? Uugo's there. Bad joke, I know, I'm sorry, but a bad joke and a very, very good champion. A champion who has quickly become, in the last month, with the release of Hydra, one of my absolute favorite epics in the game. And it's kind of becoming, my go-to epic to stick into a team if I'm not sure who should go in. So we're going to be looking at Uugo today. I also, just at the start of the video, I want to say a huge thank you and a huge hello as well to all of the, well, existing and returning subscribers and all the new subscribers too over the weekend. I put up my Geomancer on Hydra video, I think on Friday, and we were looking to get to 1,000 subs. We've almost hit 2,000 subs. So yeah, a huge thank you for that support. I'm glad that you're enjoying the content, and without any further ado, let's dive in and let's look at Uugo, who number one looks super cool with her war drum on her back. Really badass looking ogre and very unique, tons of detail on her skin. Let's look at her skills though. This is where things get powerful and get important. Her A1 is actually pretty solid. It's a one hit that does a 35% chance of putting a leech debuff for 2 turns. This increases by 5% for each alive enemy. So if you got 4 enemies alive, like in, let's say, Hydra, that's going to be a 55% chance for leech. So this is a pretty solid A1. Leech just helping all of your well, actually helping everyone stay alive, particularly with, War Master or Giant Slayer procs from the Masteries. Her A2 is one of the best moves in the game, actually. It's super, super good. Maelstrom Rack, when booked, is a 3-turn cooldown that attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance when booked, chance of putting a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, then also has, when booked, a 75% chance of placing block buffs debuff for 2 turns, and it also increases the chance of the block buffs debuff by 5% for each enemy alive. So again, against the Hydra, you've got, when booked up, a 75% baseline plus 20%, so 95% chance of placing that block buffs. We can take the Sniper Mastery to increase that to 100% chance, for Hydra or for Arena in particular. Those would be the 2 points where you're fighting 4 enemies at once to get 100% chance. So this is just phenomenal, right? This is phenomenal. Block buffs is one of the rarest things in the game. In fact, I should have got this up before I start recording. Let me jump across to Hell Hades. Can you guys see this? You can. Where does he have it? Where does he have? Let me search for a champion. No, we want, here it is. Buffs and debuffs. Let's zoom in a bunch as well. So we want to look at debuffs. We want to look at block buffs. There we go. Great website for showing you this sort of stuff. We have a few different legendaries that can do it, but when we come to epics and rares that can apply block buffs in AoE, it's, the pickings are very, very slim. They're very slim. Umbral Enchantress has a nice advantage of being void, and she plays it for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, so she's super good as well, but that's almost all she does for things like Hydra. Uugo is one of the most accessible, and again, she's bringing a ton of other things in her kit, so this is a premium ability. It's a premium skill that, outside of legendaries, which are obviously extremely random to get, she's one of the best choices here. And then her A3, Uugo's Brew, books down to a 4-turn cooldown. It removes all heal reduction debuffs from all allies, then 1 random debuff from all allies, then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. So this is, again, a fantastic ability. It's doing a little bit of a cleanse, which is nice. Nice thing is that it removes heal reduction before it heals your team, which is good. And this 20% of her HP is actually very strong. If we look at her base stats, she has a ton of HP, almost 20,000. I've built her up to about 70,000. So if we do some loosey-goosey maths here, right, let's say 20% of that, let's say that she had, and it ups another 20%, so we're doing like 24%. Let's say you can build her with like 80,000 HP and you're healing 25%. It's something like, at the very, more high end would be about 20,000 health heal across your whole team. Let's say more reasonably, you're looking at maybe 15,000. Now, about 15,000 heal across your whole team. That's a really solid heal. 15k to everyone. Like for me, late game or end game, well, maybe not end game, but late game at least, right? Late game, typically your nukers are somewhere like 30 to 40k HP. Defense-based champions are usually like 40 to 50k HP. So, you know, a 15,000 heal, it's going to heal probably about half of your nuker's health. It's a big heal. Very good. And buff removal is nice. Also has this other effect here that if everyone is dead, if all allies are dead, it will instead revive all of them with half health and half turn meter instead of doing this. This is rare to proc. I think this is more for faction wars and maybe some early game arena. I almost never see this proc myself, but this is pretty cool when it does proc. One of the issues is that this baseline ability is so good, and her AI does use it as well by default. So it's kind of unusual that everyone would be dead except for her, and she'd have this off cooldown with a 4-turn cooldown. Her passive does sort of coincide with it on a 5-turn cooldown that puts 30% increased speed and block damage on her for 1 turn whenever she's the last person alive. So whenever all of the rest of your team get killed, she'll get this and she'll stay alive. Again, I feel like these are fairly rare to happen, maybe more so for faction wars or earlier in the game in arena. So that's just something to watch out for. In terms of her masteries, just to go along with those skills, it's pretty straightforward what we are doing. We've gone all the way down for War Master on the left-hand side, just upping her damage against high-health enemies, bosses, so Hydra, Doom Tower, all that sort of stuff, dungeon bosses, all of that, just down the left-hand side. And then we're taking basically all the right-hand side of the supportive tree here. It's giving her more accuracy, giving her turn meter when her debuffs are going to expire because she's applying both decreased defense and block buffs, and often putting leeches out as well, so speeding her up. More accuracy for her as well, making her artifact sets better, decreased turn meter. Sniper is a nice one for her, again, to give her that 100% chance of block buffs when against 4 enemies and booked out. And Master Hexer is really important as well, chance to extend the duration of all of her debuffs. So again, the leeches, the block buffs, and the decreased defense. Yeah, Uugo, she's a monster. Like, what an absolutely fantastic skill set. It's so good. It's so good. She does multiple things well. In terms of her stats, we already looked at her base stats here a bit, but she's got tons of health, solid defense, good speed, very good speed, and then standard enough. So really solid stats, great, especially for an epic. And we've built her out with lots of health. So she's up at 70k health. It's going to help her stay alive, and also going to up the potency of her heal, so that's really nice. Giving her some defense, some attack, not too focused on those. Speed is very important. You want her to be fast, right? Especially faster than your nuking champions. You want her to be one of the first champions to go, so she places decreased defense and block buffs, and then your nukers can lay into the enemy. I actually have her with a decent chunk of crit rate here. I think that's pretty optional. And then a tiny bit of resistance that's not going to do anything, and solid accuracy, right? Accuracy. Again, I think Hell Hades says it. I think he came up with it, but it's a good mantra, which is ASDD. Accuracy is your top priority, getting the requisite accuracy. Then speed is priority 2. Then defenses, in this case HP, defense, resistance. For Uugo in particular, I'd say HP being the best of those. And then damage coming in as the final priority. So for her, for damage, it's like attack, crit rate, and crit damage. And again, crit rate would be the best one of those to up her damage. So yeah, there we go. That is how I have her built out. Again, her stats are a little bit low because I actually realized I don't have her artifacts, her accessories rolled up yet. So she would get, I could put her in HP, or excuse me, in either in a HP banner here. I could put her in an accuracy banner to get her accuracy higher for higher level Hydra stuff. When I get onto that, that's an option. This one's just got lots of speed, so it's really, really nice for her. HP, she's got an HP in all of these basically to make her heal a bit more. And yeah, for me, I have her in 3 perception sets, upping her accuracy and her speed. I think those are, again, her top 2 priorities and stats. So that's probably some of the best sets for her. Really, any sort of supportive sets are good, though. So life and defense, early game speed is excellent on her. Accuracy, obviously, is excellent. Maybe some resistance. I do think one to call out that's pretty damn good is actually regeneration, especially for faction war progression, right? Regeneration heals her based off of her health every turn, and she has so much health. This is a big heal on herself every single turn that will really help you to get use in faction wars out of her revive, right? It will help her stay alive when she's the last person alive and be almost topped up on health, and then she can revive everyone. So for faction wars, regen's amazing. Shield could be okay. She's got a big health pool, so she can put a big shield on your team. And yeah, I'd say that's probably most of the stuff that's really good for her. Yeah, I mean, Immortal's fine. You get it. Any sort of defensive sets, Divine Speed's very good. Any defensive set is a solid bet. or stuff that's helping her do her debuffs well. I think a valuable comparison, I think 2 valuable comparisons right now to put it in perspective, right? On a new account in particular, who are your decreased defense champions going to be? Well, you're probably going to farm out War Maiden, who can put decreased defense on her A3, 3-turn cooldown. Uugo, in comparison to War Maiden, well, number 1, she's going to give you block buffs as well, which makes her way more useful in all the endgame content, right? You can see from War Maiden's stats, War Maiden is extremely squishy. She's no defense, so War Maiden dies super easily. Uugo doesn't. And then War Maiden's other stuff, she'll do a little bit of damage, like a bit of poison and stuff like that, but it's nowhere near as good as Ugo's big team heal, her cleanse, her leech. So Uugo is a huge upgrade over War Maiden. If you get Uugo in your account, you're going to be happy. And I actually think, funny enough, we did you probably got Alexander as your login reward if you were playing, I think, before Christmas there. He has an AoE decreased defense, and again, Uugo is just straight up better than Alexander. She's much better than Alexander, which I think is quite funny. Like, yeah, he's hitting hard, he's doing good damage and all the rest, but he takes legendary books and it's not worth it on him. So Ugo's going to have more consistent decreased defense and just be way more useful in way more areas of the game. So I think, you know, the only epics that are going to rival her in terms of decreased defense, the only ones are going to be Stag Knight and Duck the Pierced, right? They're the only 2 as of time of recording. Because they have, when booked, a 3-turn cooldown that does decreased defense and decrease attack, right? So they're bringing both of those buffs. So that's the only thing that can even come close to competing with Uugo for being relevant in so much of this content, right? She's at that absolute top level of epics. Let's see her in some content. So for campaign, she's pretty much good in nearly everywhere, guys. Campaign, I would say, one of her weaker areas. She's going to be great for progressing through campaign, but you progress through campaign pretty quickly. I think it's relatively unlikely that you'd pull her while still progressing on campaign. For Nightmare campaign, she'd be okay, but I think there's better options, right? Like, I use Seal of the Drakes and Tyrell for campaign. For dungeons, she's actually very good. Bad in a couple, but very good in most of the others. So for your potion keeps, I think she's great. She's especially good at the blue keep, right? What does the blue keep boss do? It puts buffs on itself, right? She buffs herself and then hits you really hard based off how many buffs she has. So Uugo completely counteracts that keep. She's fantastic. I think the arcane keep even puts counterattack on himself, maybe, so she's good for that. And then just generally speaking, being a decreased defense champion, she's going to be good for all of them, being decreased defense and some healing. Minotaur, she's obviously solid for that as well as your decreased defense champion. Then we have the 4 gear dungeons. I would say her weakest one is definitely Fire Knight. I don't think she's very good for Fire Knight. She doesn't have any turn meter control. She doesn't have any multi-hits, so she's not going to help you break the shield. And like Fire Knight 20 is red affinity, which is bad for her. She's okay for 25 in terms of affinity, but just her toolkit's not really built for Fire Knight at all. Likewise, Spider, I think, is relatively weak for her. She's going to help you with early game Spider progression, but she's going to fall off later in the game, right? Why? Because, again, she's got no turn meter manipulation. The Spiders don't do any buffs on themselves. AoE decreased defense falls off in usefulness past, like, I don't know, level 12 or 13 or something. AoE decreased defense isn't relevant anymore. And again, because she's only cleansing 1 debuff, these spiderlings are putting out tons of poisons if they're attacking. So she falls off hard there. Now, where she is excellent, especially for progression, is Ice Golems and Dragons Lair. She does the same thing in both of them. Let's look at Ice Golem first, which is probably the trickier dungeon. So if we remove all of these, let's put in some champions. Let's put in Syl. Syl, there we go. Where's Uugo? Let's put in Uugo. And then we gotta find some more epics to fill things out. So Uugo is gonna be great for our decreased defense. Syl's gonna do some AoE stuns and healing and bring a revive if we need it. What is this? Green affinity. Royal Guard is good, but might get us killed. Let's put in Haikatoon for speed and speed lead. There's a champion you'll have. Let's put in Galek, actually. Put in my starter champion. Let me just check he's geared. Hopefully he's geared. I think he is. And let's put in Archmage. Okay, so I should check this real fast. Does Galek have gear? The rest of them do. I think Galek is geared. Yeah, he's got kind of shitty gear. But he'll do. He'll do. He's fine. All right, let's go. So we run through Ice Golem. And this kind of shows what a bunch of her strengths are going to be in the dungeon. So she's going to go first. We've got her running fast to go first. So she puts that decreased defense so that our nuker, in this case Galek, is going to hit really hard. If you watch my best starter video, you know that Galek is, in my opinion, the worst starting champion. He's the starter I chose when I began the game, though. So it's not a huge deal. Oh, that was actually quite lucky. And here we go. Against this wave, this shows you another one of the big things that Uugo does. One of the hardest things from Ice Golem 20, again, on progression, is these two guys at the front, right? They have a move called Shriek, I think, or something Shriek. It's been a while since I've actually been running 20 myself, or Ice Golem in general myself. But it basically not only hits your team in AoE, but it puts reflect damage on them, which is a nasty buff that can just one-shot your nuker and be a real pain in the ass to deal with. Block Bust from Uugo stops them from doing that, which is great. Just did Ugo's Brew right there. But again, against this Ice Golem, right, these ads are going to keep popping up, and these ads can put nasty debuffs. They can put decreased accuracy, they can put decreased defense, and then the Ice Golem hits hard, right? If you have those debuffs on you, that can be super nasty and can rip through your health bars pretty quick. Uugo is going to help with that by healing your team and removing one of those debuffs. So for example, here's decreased accuracy from the boss. Uugo might remove this and help us start. There we go. She removed it. Thanks, Uugo. And she's going to help us just, you know, not need to worry about that sort of stuff. This kill's probably going to take a long time, so we won't worry about it too much. But again, this leech, she's going to help us keep topped up so that when, bam, this Frigid Vengeance comes in, we're not worried. And again, the Frigid Vengeance can freeze you. Uugo can help remove that freeze. All this sort of stuff, she's going to be doing a great job. I'm not going to... Yeah, I can hit pause. You know what? I'm going to hit pause, and I'll bring you back at the end of this so you can see what it looks like. Let's B or B. Okay, all right, we're back recording. I've never used this pause function before. It's pretty cool. But here we go. You can see Frigid Vengeance hit. We're right at the end of the Ice Golem run. And you can see that Uugo, for level 20, she's got so much HP that even we actually got hit at one point with both ads still alive. And the Frigid Vengeance that killed off High Katoon and Galek easily. Look at that heal. Insane. But Uugo easily survived. We can see the stats at the end. Okay, Galek is obviously not geared to the level or being strong enough compared to these other champions. But Ugo's coming in with a solid damage representation. She's tanked up a solid amount of damage as well. I mean, that's just AoE. And the ones with more defense are getting hit less. That's basically what's happening. But she's done a good chunk of healing too, right? So yeah, I mean, compared to Syl, she's going to do similar damage to Syl. She's going to do a bit less healing than Syl. But yeah, I mean, she's just fantastic, right? She's bringing that decreased defense, massively increasing our clear speed, massively upping the damage everyone else does, massively upping the damage that War Master does, and she's cleansing off those debuffs as well. So she's bringing a ton of nice utility to a team like this. She'll be doing the same exact sort of thing in Dragon's Lair as well. Exactly the same. Blocking buffs maybe not as important in Dragon's Lair, but cleansing off the debuffs the dragon places will help your team stay alive. And yeah, she's great. Again, one thing I will say here is, I've mentioned this already, she's good on progression. She's not going to be good in late game speed teams here, right? Late game, she's going to fall off. Why? Because what is her toolkit doing? Yeah, she's bringing decreased defense, but block buffs, cleansing, healing, those things are fantastic for progression against difficult content. But when it comes to like speed content in Ice Golem, like I'm farming level 24 here, I'm not going to be using her. I'm going to be going into a completely different team where basically, you know, we're going to be killing stuff so quickly that we just don't need to heal our people, right? We're going to be nuking stuff down. So for example, Lydia in Faction Wars is going to replace Uugo in your speed teams there, but Ugo's going to stay relevant in other areas of the game. Let me show you Faction Wars as well. This would be, again, a similar sort of thing to Dungeons. So going to level 21. Now, yeah, I've got 2 Man-Eaters here. Let's go in with this. So this is my particular team. But yeah, Ugo's going to be clutch for getting through Faction Wars. You likely won't have 2 Man-Eaters putting, you know, unkillable on your entire team. But yeah, what Uugo is doing here, again, she's stopping annoying buffs coming out from the enemy team and decrease defense on the enemies, right? It's going to massively speed up your Faction War runs. But not only that, of course, she's going to come in, she's going to do decent damage herself. As you've seen, she's not a bad damage dealer, like support damage dealer at all. She'll do her part. And yeah, she's just going to speed up our kill time on these waves, while also keeping everyone alive with some really solid healing output. So for example, on this wave here in 21, this guy can place Unkillable Paragon, which is annoying. So she's just going to block that and help us get through it a bit faster. I'll hit pause till we get to the boss, and we can see her on the boss for a bit too. Okay, so here we are. We're against the boss. You can see this boss, actually, he's putting out quite a lot of nasty debuffs. He did have some ads, which we have killed off at this point. But he has... There we go. Look at Uugo just cleanse it all off. Look at that. Fantastic. But he can put True Fear on you and AoE and also poisons. His A1 will also put poisons. And then whenever you hit this boss, he can put HP burn on you. In fact, not that he can, he will put HP burn on you as well. So Uugo can't cleanse off all of these, but she will sort of help heal from this unavoidable damage, unless you've got 2 man-eaters keeping block debuffs on your team almost all the time, right? But she'll help you heal up the damage you will inevitably take from HP burn, from this AoE attack, the poison. She's going to help cleanse those things off a little bit, heal them up a little bit, and help you with this boss. Again, this is not in the sense the best showcase, because these 2 man-eaters keep stealing turn meter and putting block buffs on us, so Ugo's not too important. But the crucial thing that she does bring to this team is she brings, there you go, you can see, cleanse it off again. She brings a ton of extra damage with that decreased defense. So I used to run pretty much this exact team without Uugo in it before. I can't remember who was in instead, but it took about 8 minutes, right? She massively increases the speed of the clear just because decreased defense ups your damage so much. And then, again, if I didn't have Uragrim doing tons of healing, or if I didn't have those man-eaters, I could bring in something like Grush, who's a login reward that does tons of healing. Uugo's healing then would become really important, and we could still slam through this just fine, right? So she's kind of a core component for that. Arena. Okay, this one's a bit more spicy. Ooh, this team might kill me. I don't know. Let's find out. Might lose to this team. So I set up a team already. What we've essentially got here is turn meter boost with Arbiter and increased attack. Then turn meter boost from Lanicus. Uugo is gonna place block buffs and decreased defense, and then Foley will nuke them. One thing is my Arbiter's not super quick, so we might just lose the speed race. If we lose the speed race, we're dead. We made it. Okay. Here we got some increased attacks. Let's go. Let's maybe... Oh, Uugo did Ugo's brew. Why would you do Ugo's brew? Why did Uugo do... Okay, so apparently that's... I didn't even know that was a thing that was possible. Things I've learned. Uugo, always open? Always... Yeah, let's just do Maelstrom Rack first. Okay, Foley always do Seal Fate first. Let's just make sure they do the right thing. Okay, there we go. Let's try this team. So this team, okay, this team will actually be, let's do it on normal speed. So Arbiter will turn meter boost us, increase attacks so we hit harder. Lanicus is going to do Companion of Fate, so she'll make the 3 allies attack and boost turn meter. So we're going to target down the Arbiter here with that. Bam. Uugo doesn't even get a go because Foley killed her. Now Uugo is going to place block buffs and decrease defense. One nice thing here, look at this. So Seeker, his passive, right? When you crit a Seeker, which I think she did, maybe, he puts increased defense on his team. So yeah, we'll just kill her. Bang, bang. Lovely. And that's basically how it works. Now you could use any nuker here. So for example, this is a weaker team. We could take out you. And then hopefully Uugo still does the right move. We could put in our starter. Old Galecki's coming back in. We could take out Lanicus. We could put in... Do I have him out? Where's Apothecary? Apothecary. Who's going to speed boost? Hopefully he's geared enough. We can click on him and see. What's his total stats? 255. Okay, good. Yeah, he's actually geared. He's geared plenty. He's level 50, but it's fine. So you come in here again. Same idea, right? Arbiter turn meter boosts. He speed boost, gives us more turn meter. She's going to come in, decrease defense and block buffs. He's going to hit us. This might be bad. We might actually die because he's too slow. Galek, you failed. Oh, God, Galek, you failed us. You failed us. Okay, well, this is exciting. What the hell is going to happen? I don't know. Chop him. Ooh. Okay. Let's actually try to keep Arbiter alive here. There we go. This may be a little bit risky. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Might regret that choice of moves. Please kill him. Good. Oh, Uugo with 29,000 hit. Good job, Uugo. Okay. Slow down Syl a little bit with decreased turn meter. This is the Mastery doing work. You heal this useless son of a gun. Okay, good. Okay, now Galek, you do your thing. Okay, great. And Galek finally kills them. Good job, Galek. You did it, buddy. You did it. But yeah, I mean, Uugo did, again, a respectable amount of damage. Not too bad. Let's maybe not use that exact team again. Here we've got a tankier team. This is actually a nice setup for Uugo. Let's put in this team again. This should be nice. Actually, we might still lose. Yeah, we might lose this. So this is the weakness, right? Candrafon. Candrafon is going to be nasty because we got 3 magic. I don't know. We might not win. But let's test it out if we can. Let's try kill Brogni. Yeah, because he's super tanky, which sucks. Uugo's going to place block buffs, which means that when Foley nukes, it blocks her unkillable. Now we might die to Candrafon. Almost. Uugo just about lives because she's so much HP. Ooh. Uugo is still alive. I think we still lose this, again, because we couldn't actually damage Candrafon. And I think he's just going to murder my whole team now. So yeah, this is the downside of this team. But we could switch up our damage dealer and try again. So for example, let's show the same thing with Uugo blocking buffs on Skullcrown. Let's do the same thing, but let's not use Foley. Let's use a Void Nuker. There we go. Void Nuker, so we'll just smash him this time. Don't need to hit Skullcrown. I think we should smash them. Maybe we won't smash them. She did Uugo's Brew. Okay, I'm not sure why she's doing Uugo's Brew first, but that's really bad. So that's something to note. Again, I have no idea why she's doing that, and it's really not good. Let's do this first. We might all die to this. Don't kill Arbiter. Don't kill her. No. Are we doomed? Are we dead? Heal. God damn it, Uugo, why? So, you need to set up an AI... This is what we've learned together today. You need an AI preset for Uugo. Otherwise, you're going to die. Let's not start. Let's do it in manual. Uugo. You know what it is? It might be that... You know what it might be? It might be because we come in, we boost, right? This might be the logic behind it. Because she's never done it before. I wonder if it's because there's so many force affinity on the enemy team that she's like, there's no point. That might be what it is. Maybe. Let's try remove the shield. It didn't work. And you just dunk them. There we go. That's more like it. Right, now you can Uugo's Brew to your heart's content, okay? He's going to get counterattacked. Uugo's still alive, though. Arbiter's going to revive. Uugo, look at that. Look at that. Now, there's Uugo's Brew used properly. Look at this. Arbiter revives them, and then Uugo tops them up. And look at that. Like, Etho's basically back to full health. Even Lanicus is almost back to full health as well. So that shows you some of the strength. By the way, Arbiter's AI is... Oh, no, never mind. But Arbiter's AI is kind of broken sometimes. But there we go. We won! We actually did it, team. It's a miracle. Uugo did good when we took some manual control. Yeah, I wonder if it's the force affinity stuff. That could be the issue there. But yeah, that's certainly her problem. You could potentially stick in like War Maiden or Stag Knight or something else if you are fighting force affinity people in the arena. But that was an exciting trip to arena, and you get to see what she does there. For Clan Boss, actually, let's do Doom Tower first, then talk about Clan Boss. So for Doom Tower, these waves are pretty nasty. That wave's not that nasty. What was super nasty? I think 91 was super nasty. Yeah, like this wave is a bunch of Krisks. That's pretty nasty. That wave's nasty as well. Okay, let's look at this. This could be a good showcase for Uugo. So this is like my normal emergency team. This is the team that beats basically everything. I'm going to do a Doom Tower video soon. Don't worry about that. Let's take out Brogni. Let's put in Uugo instead. And let's see how this does. Let's see how it does. We shouldn't need to give her an AI preset. She'll hopefully behave herself this time. We go into Doom Tower, but here we've got an enemy wave. And look at that. Block buffs on everyone, right? Because Shamrock here, he can put increased defense, increased speed on everyone. Obviously, these whatchamacallums, these elves, they can put increased speed on their own team. Of course, Sir Nick is going to come in. He's going to put big shields on his team. He's going to put unkillable on his team. He's going to put HP regen on his team. But this is like a control-based team for me. Uugo here is basically upping our damage by giving us decreased defense on the enemy. She's stopping them applying buffs with block buffs. Her healing, again, is not too relevant because this is my endgame Doom Tower team. You can see that I think Sir Nick got one hit off, but that was about it, right? So not too worried about it. This next wave is going to be more difficult because I haven't taken manual control, so we're going to go in with stuff on cooldown. Let's see how the second wave goes. 3 Shamrocks, 2 Cernyx. This is... Oh, she doesn't have her A2. That sucks. This would have been Uugo Paradise. Okay, we're fine because Physics had her taunt. Again, this is why this is my endgame Doom Tower team. It's got multiple fallbacks, so we're good. True Fears come out. Uugo cleanses the freeze off of Physics, so Physics doesn't miss a turn. Good job, Uugo. All right, Uugo, you want to stop him getting any buffs? There we go. Block buffs. Polar protection. No polar protection. Just polar hit, no protection. Because Uugo has stopped you. But you get the idea. This is what Uugo can do in Doom Tower. She's going to up the damage that you do. She's going to stop enemies getting buffs, which is really important. Because some of these buffs can be just cripple you. So, for example, block debuffs would be even worse. Unkillable can be really bad. Increased speed. All that sort of stuff. Increased attack on some of these enemies can absolutely destroy you. She'll stop them from getting that. And then again, when you occasionally get hits, if your control falls apart a little bit, she can help you stay alive with those heals. And again, for earlier Doom Tower progression, you could slap her in something like that regen set, and she would revive herself. So again, let's see. Boom. Maelstrom Rack. No increased speed. Nothing's going out here. We're going to be totally fine. In fact, let's let this run through because we're close to the end. Polar Protection, Energize. I mean, they're hitting us. They're wrecking us. This is actually a little bit rough. There comes the True Fears. Controls back on. Uugo. Nice heal for us, helping us stay alive. Look at that healing from Uugo. She's actually done a great job on this team. This has worked better than I thought. So I normally put Brogni in here, who does a similar job. So Brogni is safer. Brogni gives my team a big shield and also heals us whenever the shield gets hit. He also has some remove buff with his A2. That also makes our shields bigger. And yeah, he doesn't give us the decreased defense. So basically Brogni in instead of Uugo, what's the difference? Brogni is slower but safer, is essentially what the difference is. Which is totally fine. So, you know, for these really hard Doom Tower waves, I can just stick this team in. This is actually pretty quick. But I can stick it in with Brogni and it, you know, it's gonna beat almost any wave. I can just put it on, go cook dinner, come back, take a look. Hey, we beat a super hard Doom Tower floor. All good, right? That's sort of my general gist of it. And I do Doom Tower hard first every rotation as well. So that, you know, if I don't have time to actually clear Doom Tower in a particular day, on hard, I'll just go knock out a few of the normal levels in a few seconds with just a bunch of nukers. But there you go. So if you compare, actually funny enough, right? This is slower than my best team in terms of turns. But in terms of time, it took the same amount of time. That actually went really well. And again, you can see in this stuff here that Uugo, she's doing a respectable amount of damage. It is the lowest on the team, but it's a respectable amount of damage. And more importantly, she's applying that decreased defense, which is upping everyone else's damage, right? When she hits them with her AoE, they don't have decreased defense because she's the one doing it. But yeah, and then again, you saw her cleanse actually coming in and doing some good work, cleansing. Her AoE heal, that burst of AoE healing, pretty useful as well. The leeches that she's placing, helping everyone heal themselves. Although actually nearly everyone on this team also applies leech as well, thanks to Masteries. But yeah, she does a good job, right? She does a good job. Then the final big area to show her in is, in Clan Boss. So for Demon Lord, she's obviously really good against Demon Lord. Oh, I don't have any keys, so I can't show you, but you get the idea. Again, for late game Demon Lord, she's not really good, right? But for early game, she's going to be great. Leech on the Demon Lord is going to help you stay alive, right? Without Leech, oftentimes early game, you're going to... Okay, this is me. Does anyone have an early game style team? Not super much. Here we go. Well, no, not an early game. None of these are early game teams. But for early game teams, you know, are often trying to put everyone in lifesteal to try help them stay alive as long as possible and let poisons do your damage is your usual go-to. Uugo's really good in that, right? She puts Leech on the boss, which essentially emulates lifesteal for everyone. So consistent leech on the clan boss, the Demon Lord. She puts decreased defense on the Demon Lord, which is great to up your damage. And then again, her AoE heal is really substantial, especially for your squishier champions you're bringing in to Demon Lord. It's going to help them stay alive. For Affinity Demon Lord, he does debuffs, going to help cleanse those off. Sometimes she'll cleanse off the stun, he does as well. So yeah, for early game, mid game, she could be a great champion that you can just slap into your Demon Lord team, and she's going to do a nice job, not only upping your damage, but also keeping your team alive. It's that flexibility that's great. And then again, for Hydra, I did a full video on this. You can check it out. I've been dinking around with a few other teams to sort of experiment and see where I'm going with stuff here. But what she's in this team right here. So again, you guys have seen this team before. I did the full video on this team, but what does Uugo do in this team? Again, for Hydra, often what you're looking for is you have a few jobs that need to be done, right? There's a few jobs on each Hydra rotation that need to be done. And what Uugo does is she's basically guarantees that you can do a few of them, right? She brings block buffs, which is, for this rotation, rotation 2, probably the most important thing. Block buffs stops this poison cloud going out. Block buffs stops this head getting increased attack. It stops this head getting block debuffs, reflect damage on himself, right? When he pops his vengeance, it's going to stop the Head of Mischief from stealing buffs. When the Head of Mischief eventually does steal a buff, because you won't be able to keep block buffs on him constantly. When he eventually does steal a buff and tries to buff spread it to all other heads, she's going to stop that, which is great. But not only is she bringing block buffs, she's also going to be your source of decreased defense to up your damage on these heads. She's also going to be providing healing. She's also going to be providing leech. So she's doing not one job, not just the block buffs job, but actually several jobs at once, which is just fantastic. So boom, he comes in, does his thing. Has Uugo done a heal recently? I'm not sure. Let's see, but look at this. He didn't get any of his stuff. There we go. She heals. She removes some of these poisons. She's helping us to stay alive and do what we need to do. So again, if you want to see the full video on how it's going, you can check that out. But the idea here is that you want champions that do multiple jobs. So like Tanix, I actually think pretty good for Hydra, right? She's not only bringing decreased speed, but she's also bringing healing, right? Geomancer is helping your team stay alive. He's also bringing decreased accuracy, and he's doing tons of damage with his HP burn reflect damage. You know, Uugo is just, she's covering multiple of the things that you need in one champion, which is fantastic. You could stick her with something like a really good champion to stick in with her would be Aox in this particular rotation. Aox would be great. Where's my Aox? I think he's somewhere. There he is. Aox could go in there as a decreased attack, right? So you got decreased defense and block buffs from Uugo. Aox comes in, does decreased attack, adds additional healing, and can also extend debuffs when he gets hit. So Aox is a really good companion for Uugo on any progression content. So any of the clan boss content in the game so far, any of the dungeons you're progressing on, those two actually combo together super, super well. But yeah, and again, one nice thing for Uugo for Hydra, again, we jump back to Hell Hades, we look at what these other champions do for Hydra. Like Umbral, she's just going to give you block buffs. She's going to be a better block buffs because she's Void. But that's basically all she's going to bring your Hydra team. Phoenix is going to bring some damage, but he's also going to be kind of squishy. Look, you can see his health there, and his defense are really low. 13,900. It's probably too small for you to see on your screens. Super zoom. Look at that. Look at those defense. So he's super squishy. So you're going to need a bunch of support to keep Phoenix alive if you want him for block buffs. Uugo's going to come in. She's going to be super tanky. She's going to help your team stay alive, bring just a ton of stuff, which makes her, for me, pretty much an MVP for Hydra. She's like my go-to first champion to stick into any Hydra team. Head of Mischief, who steals buffs, is in every Hydra rotation. So her AoE block buffs is always going to be good. And yeah, there you go. Guys, let me know what you think about Uugo. I think she's fantastic. She's super good across the board, basically everywhere. One of the best champions you can pull early game, and will continue to be an MVP for you into the late game as well. I also didn't mention, because it's not open right now, but there's a really difficult secret room in Doom Tower Hard, which is Ogren tribes only. And again, that was the reason I initially built out Uugo, was to try to deal with that room. And then Hydra came out, and I was like, oh, she's incredible for this as well, as well as being incredible everywhere else. So guys, thank you for watching. That is Uugo. Absolutely love her. I will see you next time for more champion guides, news, raid guides in general, all the rest. So I will see you all then. Bye-bye.